Have you found a way to understand your subjectivity?
Do you know how to dive into the flows of this world, this chaosmos? Do you know how to deconstruct the social codes that subject you?
Can you at least use language, art, science to navigate your own territory? You appear ill-equipped to undertake such an endeavor. You've even failed at the basics and missed a proper introduction. It seems like a lack of common courtesy. Such impoliteness is disconcerting.
Normally I'd like to start right away, but I suppose it's polite to introduce myself first, isn't it? Very well then. My name is Zentapir, and I'm here to talk about Deleuze and Guattari, their concepts and ideas about therapy, subjectivity, and difference. Some people look at the work of Deleuze and Guattari from a philosophical perspective, but I think that is pointless, and it doesn't fit with the creative explosion that Deleuze and Guattari have produced. They combine science, art, and therapy in a wonderful way, and we should use the concepts not to philosophize about them, but to transform ourselves in the world. And Felix Guattari can be particularly helpful here because he was not only a political activist, but also worked as a therapist and developed new approaches to understanding and transforming subjectivity. And the model that Guattari developed allows us to look at ourselves and the world in a new way. When I explain the model, I like to start with the existential territory, the quadrant where experiences and a sense of self or identity are located. But this self, this identity is neither stable nor primary. Rather, it is constantly produced by the environment, which is not static either, but in which flows of intensities, desires, products, and people enable experiences. And then there are universes of language, of social codes, styles of art, or patterns in politics or science that structure these flows in our experience. But to put it simply, the environment determines subjectivity more than we usually assume. In this sense, I could have started my introduction in a different way. Instead of telling you my name and what I do, I would have talked about this room here so that you can get to know me better through my environment. And that's still a good idea. Let's take a look at my surroundings to get to know me better. You can see several things here. This is my whiteboard. I like it a lot. It is here most of the time. And there's a cupboard over there. Oh, there's more. On my right is my fountain. It's nice as it is, but you should see it when it's on. It's a special highlight, although it doesn't happen very often. To be honest, there is something else. Here on the other side, it is my least favorite part of the room. There's an A on the other side. It stands there so pompous and irritating. I haven't worked out why it's there. And to be honest, I never really cared. But now that we're talking about it, maybe it's good to see what kind of A it is. After all, there are only two possibilities. It could be Derrida's A in his concept, la différence. Or it could be the Lacanian A in the l'objet petit a. But how can we be sure?
The A of difference is not heard. It remains silent, secret, and discreet as a tomb.
What was that? What is that blob? This is new and irritating. I prefer the sound of my own voice, and I don't like interruptions. But for now, I'll tolerate it, whatever it is, as long as we get something out of it. And what might that be? Ah, yes, this quotation, proof that this A here has nothing to do with Derrida's concept. I knew that. I always thought Derrida's A would look different. But the quotation proves it. Because it says that the A is secret and discreet, like a tomb. But why would anyone make a secret so public? Derrida's A would not fit here. Nothing is secret here, on the contrary. So it is not like a tomb here at all. In a tomb, everything is dead, but here I am, and I am not dead. Not at all. But then it is settled. It must be Lacan's A, then. We finally have clarity. That feels better, doesn't it?
The object A is the form which lack assumes when it is represented. In truth, the object of desire is merely lack, void, which must be lacking in both the imaginary and the symbolic, which is to say, the real. A is of the order of the real.
Yeah, I didn't want to hear a quote from Lacan. We had already clarified everything, and the quotation doesn't help. Something about lack. But I'm not lacking anything here. On the contrary, I still think the A is a bit too much here. And hearing more of Lacan doesn't make it any easier. But perhaps I can clarify one common misunderstanding. Lacan seems to say that the A is real, but he means the opposite, because his real is not reality. It is something else. We can understand it here as something we don't experience, perhaps something painful, traumatic, something we avoid. Sounds too complicated? Maybe because it is. It just does not make much sense. I'd go so far as to say it's obviously wrong because the A is here, this is reality, so this is proof that Lacan doesn't help with his ideas about desire and lack. And now, what have we achieved now? The A still stands there. Maybe I was hoping it would go away. But it is still annoying and distracting, even more than before. So we need to find our focus again and end this detour. Originally, I only wanted to show that Guattari is right, and that the environment is part of our subjectivity. And I think I succeeded, despite the distraction of the A. Now you know my environment, you know me, and we can begin with the actual lectures. Oh wait, here is something else. Look, my fountain, it started. Oh, that's a nice compensation for all the crap before with the A. It's the small things in life that are the best. For me, this is art, a reason to go on. I'm glad that I could present such a highlight at the end of this introduction. But events like this also make me think about how to bring the beauty and magic of this world to a wider audience. I think I have to come up with something that will really give this lecture season the proper drive right from the start. Until then, apply what you learned today and also find your own ways to a more Deleuzian and Guattarian world.